Hello, hope you're having a great day. Now today has been another day where I continue my streak of actually being able to get up at 7:30 in the morning, which I'm really happy about. And it's another day where I've observed that the way I'm thinking in the morning is different than in the past when I have been able to manage to stay up, right? For ages and ages, whenever I have been successful in getting up and staying up at 7:30, it's been a real battle against the lazy side of my mind, my inherent laziness that I've mentioned on this channel so many times. I literally get up at 7:30 and then I have to sit on the foot end of my bed and have this battle within myself where my lazy mind is trying to rationalize going back to bed, and I'm just sitting there, just trying to focus on the fact that I'll be way more proud of myself. I'll get more done, if I manage to sort of just about stay awake. A lot of the time I'd have to sit on the foot end of my bed for 20 minutes, half an hour, longer sometimes, just having this internal battle with myself. And then when I become slightly less tired, I'm then able to sort of overcome my mind's desire to go back to bed and just crack on with my day. But what I've noticed the last few days, which have followed a week or more where I've failed to get up at 7:30, interestingly. But yeah, what I've noticed the last few days is I get up and the two options in my head are, the lazy part of my mind is telling me to sit on the foot end of the bed for 20 minutes. And the other side of my mind is telling me to stay up and not sit on the foot end of my bed. So I've gone from being someone that barely manages to persuade myself to sit on the foot end of my bed instead of going to sleep, to someone who now succeeds or fails in a battle between staying up without sitting on the foot end of my bed for 20 minutes and staying up with sitting on the foot end of my bed for 20 minutes. So, it's got to the point where the two options that are in my mind in that moment both involve me not going back to bed. They both involve me staying up after getting up at 7:30, which is awesome. I don't want to get complacent. I understand that, I can easily go backwards in any sort of realm of, me trying to improve myself, right? Especially with the mornings, because it's like I'm possessed when I wake up. I'm tired and I'm easily influenced by, the laziness that's in me that I've trained in myself over decades of, living like a waste man and not living the clean and healthy life that I do nowadays. But it's still a good thing to sort of notice in myself. And it is kind of surprising because, as I say, I did go through a whole week of failing to get up, up until a few days ago. But, admittedly, I have just been through a cold and, I had a neck injury, which is still lingering around. So maybe the fact that I was trying and failing during those times where I was ill and was more majorly injured, maybe the act of battling against my own laziness during them times has now made it, I'm going to say easier, but that's probably the wrong word. Made it a bit easier now to overcome it, now that I'm not in such a bad state in terms of being ill or, having a neck injury. I don't know. It's just something that I've observed, something I'm really happy about. And this is the point, the more you sort of have days where you do better and you take the time to analyze what has gone on, what's been different in those times where things have gone better, the more you're building up proof to yourself that better time is better and that better time is possible. The more I sort of look back at darker times in my life and acknowledge that it would be easy for me to slip back into those times, taking drugs, being a degenerate. And the more I acknowledge how much better my life is now and acknowledge what's going on within myself during these better times, the more I can sort of prove to myself that the way I'm living now is the right way. And then there's less chance of my mind coming in and tripping me up and trying to persuade me to go back to old ways, because the way I see it is that my degeneracy and the waste man that's within myself is always just a couple of steps behind me, waiting for me to slip up, waiting for me to drop my guard, and then it will drag me back to the darkness of my old ways. That's the way I like to look at it. It's not me hanging on to the past. It's not me hanging on to negativity. It's me acknowledging that I am always only a couple of steps ahead of going back to my old ways. In the same way with the mornings, I can't start celebrating, that I've managed to do 3 days where it seemed that staying in bed and not getting up wasn't an option, and pretending that, I've now overcome a habit of not being able to get up that I'd built up over decades, just because I've had a few days where it seems a bit easier for me to stay up. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, as usual, I'm turning the camera on after I've been through most of my daily routine. I've already been for my walk around the block. I've already written in my journal, and I've just had a meditation. I was actually listening to a podcast as I was going for my walk today where Piers Morgan had on Chris Williamson, who is, a guy that's into fitness, and I think he lives a life now where he's sober, even though he used to be a club promoter for 15 years back in the day. He was actually on the first series of Love Island, which is a programme that my beautiful girlfriend Kat watches, which I think is ridiculous. But I didn't realise he was on that until I was watching this podcast and they mentioned it. But Chris Williamson is into counteracting this opinion that the masses have nowadays, that every aspect of masculinity is toxic when it's not. Men are supposed to be masculine. And he's all about living a fit and healthy life. And he has his own podcast where he has people on his podcast as well. So, I've seen his stuff before. And it's interesting to see him on a podcast with Piers Morgan. So look, it's time for me to jump into my workout. And today I've got legs on my workout plan for my workout here at home this morning. But I've got to say, my legs are still really, really aching, which is good. I've said before, I like to live a life where I can feel that some of my muscles are aching all the time just because I'm so focused on my fitness. But my legs felt really tight on my walk around the block today. And usually, I get muscle soreness 2 days after I've done whatever muscle group in the gym. But, we're 3 days now since I've done legs in the gym. But the day after that, I did boxing, and boxing is really heavy on your legs. And I remember in Tuesday's boxing class where I was stubbornly just determined to give it my all on all the leg stuff, the squat jumps and whatnot, despite how fatigued my legs felt in that boxing class. So it's just another example of where you've got achiness in your body, and that just reminds you that you have worked hard enough. A lot of people see, muscle soreness as proof that they've worked too hard, but I don't see it like that. I think having muscle soreness somewhere in your body every day just means that you are working hard enough. So look, I'm still going to bang out my leg session here at home. I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Instead of doing squats with the bar, I think I'm going to do lunges with the dumbbells. So I'll have 10 kilos in each hand and do lunges. Part of the reason for that is that Kat is in bed because she's doing night shift this week, and lately when I'm doing squats I get her to pass me the bar. I sort of crouch down and she puts it on my shoulders. So I'll do the lunges instead with the dumbbells. I think it's actually beneficial to do lunges every now and again instead of squats anyway, just because you sort of work some other muscles just purely because you're sort of trying to balance. And I haven't done lunges for ages. So, I'm going to do that. Then I'll do the calf press or calf raises. Again, I'll just use the dumbbells. And then I'll bang out some deadlift, which isn't technically legs, but I normally do deadlift when I do my legs here at home. So that's the 3 exercises, 2 sets of each as usual. And then, as usual, I'm going to jump in my cold shower before having a healthy breakfast. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing today because it's raining outside, which might hinder what I can do in terms of getting around to the garage to work on the car. But I've at least got some running around to do. I need to go and see a couple of companies about things for the cars. And before that, I've got to put my head in my MacBook for a while. So we'll see what the weather's saying once I've finished doing what I need to here at home. But I digress. Workout. now talking to you much later in the day. In fact, it's 10 to 10 at night. But yeah, it's been a very interesting day. I've been doing a lot of running around. I've spent most of the day driving, to be honest. After I'd done what I needed to here at home, like editing yesterday's video on this channel, I headed out. I took my beautiful girlfriend Kat's car because I had a load of running around to do. And yeah, I went to see 2 companies. One company, I dropped off some hardware that they're going to be refreshing for me for the engine on the latest project that I'm working on. And another company, I went to pick up some parts that they'd saved for me that were, basically scrap. And again, they're parts for the engine for my latest project. And then I found myself in the sort of general area of my other garage. So I went over to there to take care of one quick job on that engine. It was raining, so I wasn't able to pull the car out to do much. But yeah, about 5 o'clock, I then took a trip to the other side of London to pick up some merchandise from one of my suppliers of my merchandise. Now, this particular supplier, they have kind of let me down a few times in terms of taking longer to do stuff than they promised. But do you know what? I am a patient man. It's fine. They have helped me with sort of adjusting some of the designs on my merchandise over the last couple of years. So I've sort of given them a bit of leeway. You know, they are a small company, growing though. So, you know, I am a patient man. It's fine. Like, I'm willing to be patient with people in general, you know. But yeah, this particular merchandise, I ordered it in December. I was told I wouldn't get it before January. And now we're coming into March now, right? So yeah, it just got to the point where I'd had enough. I'd run out of patience. Some of the merchandise, which I actually sent back because there was a problem with it, you know, that wasn't in December. I sent that back, it's probably over a month ago. And they sort of remanufactured that for me, so that was fine. So it was, you know, I had that to pick up, and I was waiting for this other stuff that I ordered in December. And basically, I just kept getting told a date, and they just kept like not fulfilling by that date. You know, 2 weeks ago I was told it would be that Friday, and then that Friday came, and I messaged them, heard nothing back. And then this Monday I was told that it would be ready today, which is Thursday. And, you know, I messaged them yesterday to say, well, I'm assuming you've posted it to me because I haven't heard back from you, and obviously you've guaranteed it for today. And then I got a message saying that the raw materials, if you like, for that merchandise hadn't even arrived at the guy's workshop yet, let alone, you know, them manufacturing the merchandise for me. So, you know, I don't know why they've, you know, repeatedly, week after week, promised it to be ready on a certain day when, you know, they haven't even received the stuff to do it. Now, the guy is busy, and he kind of admitted to me this time that, you know, he's got some big contracts that he's sort of won, so he's trying to fulfill them. And, you know, I get it. You know, he's a small business, he's trying to grow and stuff. And I also understand that people tell white lies in business and stuff. You know, sometimes you just tell your client what they want to hear, you know, just to sort of sweeten them up, you know, keep them sweet, you know. But when you're telling me that things are going to be guaranteed by a certain day, you know, making me think that basically, you know, you've just got to sort of produce this merchandise, when in the end we realise the truth is they haven't even got the stuff there to be able to produce this merchandise. You know, they didn't tell me that a few weeks ago, did they? Like, so, you know, once I sort of figure out that someone's lying to me, or, you know, they are, you know, just telling me what I want to hear, you know, I am patient. I'll be more patient than most people will in these situations, you know, down to my sort of introverted personality. But once I lose patience, that's it. And, you know, I've got no hard feelings with them. You know, it's just business, right? But, you know, once I'd had enough, I'd had enough. And I think the issue with me is because I'm patient, because I'm introverted, I don't know if maybe I come across thick to people. I do find myself in these situations where I am just friendly, I am patient with people. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a lot of beef with anyone in the world, right? But, you know, on these rare occasions, it just seems like people, you know, maybe they just mistake me for being a bit thick, because although I don't ever mention it and I don't pull them up on it, you know, I notice that they'll say one thing, and then lo and behold, they'll say another thing like later on. And then another thing later on, you know, sweeten me up or whatever. And then those things don't correlate, like they contradict each other, right? So, you know, it's just clear that they're lying. So either it means that these people are maybe not that intelligent themselves, or maybe they've just told so many white lies to so many people that they forgot, or, you know, maybe I'll just come across thick. And yeah, they think I won't notice. But, I analyse what's going on in my own mind 24/7. So, naturally I'm the kind of person that does take note of what people tell me. And then obviously alarm bells are going to ring if things that people are telling me on multiple occasions don't add up, right, and contradict each other. But anyway, it got to the point yesterday where, I had to say to this company, look, like, the stuff will be ready today, or I'm going to put it all over social media and tell everyone, like, how much grief you've caused me, right? And I said, I'll accept a refund for anything that you haven't produced yet, right? And I've been saying this for the last few weeks, I'll accept a refund, I'll accept a refund. And it was like, no. So today I went to pick up the stuff that they had done, and I've been promised a refund for the other stuff. And, we'll see. Like, if I don't get that refund, within the next couple of days, then I will just put it all over social media. Like, I'm a social media guy. Like, why shouldn't I tell, other people, like, not being funny, I've sent business to this company from other people who are like me that have asked, oh, who does your merchandise? Who does your merchandise? So I kind of feel like it's my duty. I should tell people about how much grief this company's caused me. However, I am an understanding bloke, and I do understand that this guy, he's not trying to mug me off. He's not trying to annoy me on purpose. It's just situations have meant that, my patience has run out. Now, the problem I've got when I'm in these situations is, I've said so many times that I've got multiple voices in my head, multiple thoughts that are contradicting each other, like in any situation, like all the time, right? And these situations is a perfect example of that, right? Now, because I'm introverted, because, I have let people walk all over me, like in my past, I have always been a bit of a coward naturally. I am very introverted. I'm very socially awkward. So in these situations, it's another example where I've got like conflicting voices in my head, right? One side of my brain is sort of concentrating on the fact that, I have been a bit of a coward in my past, and I have, had people sort of take the piss essentially. So, that side of my brain is wanting to make sure that I'm not getting taken the piss out of now. And, that's a big part of everything I do. I want to be more assertive. I want to be more masculine. I want to be, more strong, more brave. Everything I'm doing, like, is all part of turning me into a better person, a stronger person, like in multiple ways. And so, I do want to be more assertive. I do want to, I wouldn't say I want to turn myself into an extrovert. I don't want to change my personality, but, I do want to try and be more, assertive in life, right? So part of my mind in these situations is, concentrating on the fact that they might be mugging me off, oh, don't get mugged off like you used to, right? But then another part of my mind is thinking, like, right, I don't want situations like this to turn me into someone who is unreasonable, someone who is impatient. I want to choose to be a patient bloke. All right, I don't want to be like a little pussy and let people walk all over me. Like, I don't want to not choose to be a patient bloke, but I still do want to be a patient bloke. Like, I still want to be a reasonable guy, through choice. So, there's like two conflicting sort of thoughts there. And then I've got to be honest, like, on the way down to this place, like, my mind's coming up with all these random stories about how I'm going to get there and he's going to have a couple of mates with him, and then they're going to like put pressure on me to like not want my refund, and they're going to, start telling me that I'm unreasonable for asking for a refund. This whole story going through my mind, like, which is just madness. Like, I haven't even got to the place yet. Right? And in that moment, I can remember having a thought that that's ridiculous. Like, enough for me to not be, scared and nervous about that sort of thing actually happening, because I am introverted, because I don't like conflicts, I don't like battling with anyone. If that was a real possibility, if I was in a situation like a really dire sort of bit of beef where that kind of thing could be a possibility, I would be very anxious about that situation. I'd probably be too nervous to even go down to, see whoever like in that situation. So, the fact that I wasn't feeling nervous at all in that situation, the fact that it was just a story going through my mind, tells me that in that moment I knew that that was a ridiculous story for my mind to be telling me, right? But it's still a fact that I did have these sort of random stories going through my mind of, what might happen when I get to this guy's company. So yeah, it's just madness. Ultimately, I went there. It was very civilized. We shook each other's hand. He introduced me to his employee that he'd taken on, because his business is growing. It was a very friendly thing. I gave him Kat's account details just so that he can wire the money to her, and I picked up the merchandise that he had produced, and then I was on my way. But yeah, it's just mad that even in a tame situation like this, and a situation that's just business, it's not. It doesn't matter, does it? It's just business at the end of the day, and that's what I said to him. When I was there, it's no hard feelings. It's just business, but. Once I've, run out of patience, I've run out of patience. And you did sort of say A, B, and C, and then today you're telling me D. That's when I'm sort of getting to the point where it's well, look, man, we need to nip this in the bud. Otherwise, I'm just going to put it all over my social media. I don't want to. You don't want me to, but that's the way it goes. And unfortunately, it's only happened a couple of times since I've been doing social media, for a job. It's only been a couple of times, but in this day and age, it is kind of, unfortunately, the only way to get people to sort of resolve issues. If I hadn't have threatened yesterday with putting his name all over social media, the refund was out of the question. It wouldn't have been on the table. And I've had that before with some parts that failed prematurely, some parts that were rated to be way overkill for my application on my car that failed, and they just didn't want to know. They didn't know I was a YouTuber. And then when I put a post out on my social media, they then realised I was a YouTuber. They saw the comments beneath it from my followers, and then all of a sudden they want to talk about taking the parts and getting them tested, and they actually ended up sending me replacements. So, unfortunately, we are in a world where, being on social media sometimes is the only way to get people to resolve issues. And this was another example of that. But, as I say, it's another example of where I can sort of analyse my mind and, what it's trying to do to me. And, it's fine. I'd rather be the kind of person that analyses my mind and notices all these crazy things that my mind tries to do to me, share them with you guys on the channel. I'm not bothered if it makes me look silly. I don't feel silly. I feel grateful that I'm the kind of person that does analyse my mind every day and learn from it, rather than being, like most of the people in the world, just drawn along by what's going on in their mind, identified by what's going on in their mind, an NPC, as we like to call them, a non-player character. Like when you're playing a computer game and there's other characters in the computer game that aren't controlled by anyone, they're just controlled by the computer. That's how most people live their lives. They don't take time to analyse what's going on in their mind, because they believe that what's going on in their mind is them, and they just go through life drawn along by what's going on in their mind, rather than analysing what's going on in their mind and then learning from it and choosing, what sort of direction to go in, in their lives in any situation. So, as I say, it was a day where I was running around doing multiple things, and I just spent hours and hours and hours in the car, driving to that company. At the end of the day, after I'd been around the garage, it was about 2 hours, and then it was a couple of hours back, only because I stopped to do some posts on my social media on my phone, basically to tell everyone who's been waiting for this particular merchandise that I've now got it. So yeah, a good shift in the car today. But it's just part of my sort of crazy, weird life that I live, that I'm grateful to live. But anyway, it is now 10:05, and Kat is doing her night shift. I need to pick her up in the morning because I've got her car. And I've decided on the way home, basically, that I'm not going to go to the gym tonight, because I've been bang on my gym sessions and my boxing. I've already ticked off 2 gym sessions and 1 boxing session. And on my workout plan, I've got Friday evening as rest. So I'll have a rest tonight, Thursday, and I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I could even go with Kat, because she normally goes to the gym on a Friday on her night shift week, because she's doing her last night shift tonight. But I might end up going around the garage all day tomorrow, and then just going in the evening. If Kat wants to wait for me, then we'll go together. If not, I'll go on my own. And then I've still got Saturday to do my second boxing session of the week. So, because I've been on it this week with my gym sessions, I am able to switch things around and have a rest tonight. It's going to mean that I'm not going to be having my dinner at gone 11. You know, I'm going to be having it at gone 10, obviously. And then, you know, I still do need to get up to pick Kat up from work because I've got a car as well. So, yeah, that's going to eat into my time in the morning. But, yeah, right now, I think I'm going to delay my dinner a little bit longer and go and have a shower because, you know, I'm not filthy. I wasn't really doing much around the garage today, but, yeah, I've only had my cold shower this morning. So, yeah, I'm going to have a warm shower. Then I'm going to have my dinner. And then I'm going to dive into some work, even if it is just importing the files that I captured today when I did that little bit of work on the engine around the garage. But yeah, this clip has been way too long, but thanks for sitting and listening to my story about what I was up to today. All right, we have some sort of chicken meal with spinach, peppers, and underneath is a load of spaghetti. And Kat left the Parmesan cheese out to put on top of it. And I've added this Nando's chili jam. Don't tell Kat, you know the Italians get offended if you improve their food or decimate it. Yeah, as usual, gonna have a protein yogurt for afterwards. Got my smoothie knocked up as well that I have every day, and got some files importing into my MacBook so that I can crack on with a little bit of work before I go to bed. But I'm going to end this video right here. Massive thanks to everyone who's tuned in. As always, feel free to say hello in the comments and we'll have a chat, or get in touch through Facebook, Instagram or email if you'd rather talk to me more privately. I'll be back for another video for you guys that want to follow me on my day tomorrow. Other than that, I'll chat to you then.